Welcome to Steep Tea with Elsayed, where we engage with leading experts at the forefront of engineering and sustainability. Today, we're honored to have Dr. Bipro Dhar, an associate professor of environmental engineering at the University of Alberta and a distinguished researcher in microbial electrocatalysis. As the Canada Research Chair, Tier 2, in microbial electrocatalysis for energy and environment, Dr. Dhar has made groundbreaking contributions to bioenergy, wastewater treatment, and biosensing technologies. Join us as we explore his pioneering work, the future of environmental biotechnology, and how innovative engineering solutions are shaping a more sustainable world.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of our podcast, Steep Tea With Elsayed. I'm really happy to start our second season today with a very special guest to me. He's a very special friend to me. We have spent a lot of time together, some good time, some challenging time. We had a lot of fun working together during our graduate study in a couple of universities like Western University and University of Waterloo. Our guest today is Dr. Bipro Dhar. How are you doing, Dr. Bip?
I'm doing great, yeah. Thanks for having me.
I can't really imagine that we are having that discussion.
Yeah, we have been planning this for a very long time, and finally today I'm here. So,
Actually, as you saw in the introduction, guys, that Dr. Dhar has an outstanding career. He's currently a professor at University of Alberta and is the Canada Research Chair, Tier 2, and also a University of Alberta Research Chair as well. And this is something unique, Dr. Dhar. And can I say that you are one of those youngest full professor on our discipline?
I'm not full professor yet officially. I recently got my promotion. It's going to be effective. Yeah, thank you. It's going to be effective from July 1st, 2026. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's a good news.
Yeah.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And welcome to our podcast. And thank you so much for accepting the invitation. And as you mentioned, it has been a while.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
What is your favorite drink, by the way?
Well, I'm a coffee person, but I love tea as well because my wife can make a really good, great tea. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So hopefully our tea can can be quite close to the great tea.
So let's see if you can beat her today or not.
Yeah, you can try our steep tea. Actually, we do it with our love, so that's why it tastes a little bit.
So can I try it?
Yeah, of course.
It's great. Yeah, so refreshing. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So we can send the recipe to your wife to add something to the great tea.
So she can fusion. Yeah.
So tell us, who's Bipro?
Well, I think my first identity is I'm one of the many researchers who is actually developing environmental technologies for a better world. And I'm really passionate about mentoring students and my team members and to see how I can make some positive impact on their lives. And I was actually born and raised in Bangladesh, a beautiful country in South Asia. And so I proudly identify myself as a Bangladeshi Canadian. And in my personal life, I'm a father, husband, friend, and I love soccer, music, art, sculpture. I also love watching thriller movies.
Okay, yeah. that's interesting. So you have too many hobbies and too many things that you are attracted to. But coming to that career-wise, have you ever thought when you were a child that you're gonna be an environmental specialist? But it came to your mind when you were a child?
To be honest, not exactly. During my childhood, in different stages of my childhood, I wanted to do different things. My father is an engineer, so I always wanted to follow his footsteps. But later on, I wanted to be an architect at some point because this is something like, I was always surprised to see nice buildings, modern and, contemporary architecture. But later on, I ended up in undergraduate program in chemical engineering. When I first came in Canada, I started master's in industrial engineering.
Oh.
For 8 months, and after 8 months, I quit and transferred to University of Western Ontario, where actually I was first introduced to environmental engineering research. And that was the point I could realize that this is something I really love, and maybe that's the thing that I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. So it was actually like during my grad studies, I could realize possibly that's the right thing for me or right path for me.
So how was it? Because now you moved to, I would say, to 3 different disciplines. From after the high school, you decided to go to chemical engineering. So how that decision happened? And then how the decision to industrial engineering for the master? And then the decision to environmental?
Yeah, so that's a funny thing. So, so we have actually an entrance exam, like when you actually get admission to public universities. So at the time, I could not decide either I go for civil or chemical. Yeah. And sometimes, you don't want to do the same thing that your parents did, right? So my father was a civil engineer. So I decided, okay, you know what, like I'm going to try chemical engineering. And then
Didn't he try to convince you to go civil?
That was actually, no, actually, at that point, he did not try to influence me.
Okay, that's a good
For some reason. I don't know why, but I decided to be in actually chemical engineering. And my industrial engineering program had actually a lot of, overlap with chemical engineering. I think I was doing almost the simulation in chemical processes. So my chemical engineering background was quite complementary. But my graduate studies at Western, it was like completely new discipline. I would say that was a bit challenging. This transition was quite challenging. So I had to do, actually, I took a lot of different courses and did a lot of self-reading for that. Yeah, so
how did you make that decision? Now you graduate from chemical engineering, you are starting the industrial master in industrial engineering. How that point you decide, I'm going to go to environmental? Is it like you got a scholarship, you got a something, or just a discussion? How
That's actually a good question. So at the time, environmental engineering was something emerging back home. So at that point, I could not decide. I thought maybe I would go back to my country and, so maybe, can go work with some environmental issues there. So that was the main motivation there. So, yeah. So that was the main motivation. Yeah. So
that's and then after that you start to apply for a master in environmental engineering. If we go back to your childhood, so when you were a little boy, do you have some good memories or some memories on that childhood you want to share with us?
Yeah, I have actually a lot of great memories, I would say. Yeah, childhood. I think everyone's childhood is 90s. It was quite different, right? Than time right now, right? So we at the time we did not have internet. So you could go out and make a lot of friends, right? Play. But nowadays, everything is centered on, internet. So I think that was a different time.
So there was no internet, there was no cell phone. And barely TV.
And barely TV. And, sometimes you wait for some, your favorite show on TV for a week, right? So it's not something you just turn on Netflix or Amazon Prime and start watching things. So that was a different time. And You could make a lot of friends. At the time, I used to read a lot of books.
Okay.
Actually, that's the part I miss. Even until my undergrad studies, I used to read a lot of books.
So you're reading in the library, or just you buy books and you read
No,
it at
buy
home?
books, and
Okay, you buy
books were really, kind of like within, we could buy books with reasonable price back home. So yeah, you could read a lot of books. Yeah.
Yeah, for us, I think the libraries has a great impact in our childhood, because we used to go to the library and read those on the public libraries that we have. We read books there. But yeah, so you made your decision. Okay, I want to do something on environmental engineering, and then you joined, I think, Western University.
Yeah.
So how was that the first shock that you got when you are moving now to a new country, new culture, new environment? I think you were by yourself. So I think there was a lot of challenge there.
Yeah, it was, I would say it was quite challenging. With my degree in chemical engineering, I had a strong background in process engineering, but we did not have any specialized course on environmental engineering. So that was completely new for me.
Okay.
So, at that time, I think my supervisors, they really actually, I think, pushed me to go outside my comfort zone. And ultimately, actually, they helped me a lot. That actually helped me to manage my stress, and at some point I could actually start enjoying things. Yeah. So I think, yes, the transition was quite challenging, but some of the knowledge I think I learned, or I got in my chemical engineering training during my undergrad was quite complementary. Yeah, in environmental engineering. So, for example, if you talk about process engineering, bioreactor engineering, thermodynamics, kinetics, so those are actually really complementary to environmental engineering.
Yeah, because I think those are the basic
And
science.
environmental engineering, it's very multidisciplinary. So it's so. I think, yes, first 8 months were quite challenging, but after that, I started to, cope up with things. And I would actually like to take this opportunity to thank you. Actually, at the time you were there to train me in the lab sometimes, and you were always there, whenever I had question, I could reach out to you. So that's,
it was a great time.
Yeah, it was a great time. And, we worked as a team. And, honestly speaking, that has a lot of impact still now in my academic career. Yeah. So.
Okay. And I think this is, I would say it's a great couple of messages for the new researcher that is, at the beginning, expect that you will be pushed outside of your comfort zone. So you're going to have some challenge. So you have to stand and, face those challenges too. Once you go outside of that comfort zone, things will become better.
Yeah.
And the other message, working on a team, that's very important during your graduate study. So you try to make friends and work with other, learn from them and change the knowledge.
Yeah, you can share your challenges with each other, and sometimes you can collaborate. So it's kind of like a win-win thing, I think, when you work as a team. Yeah. So.
And because I know we were working in the same lab that you were working on the anaerobic digestion during your master, and then after that you made the decision, okay, I'm gonna go for a PhD. So what was the motivation for doing a PhD, not going to the industry, for example?
Well, I actually, since my undergrad studies, I always wanted to be in academia, but maybe, my undergrad learning experience and outcomes are not what I expected. After I finished my undergrad, I worked in industry for 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
Then I came to Canada, and the main motivation behind for me coming to Canada was to give academia to another chance to see whether this is the right path for me or not. And when I started my grad studies, actually I never looked back. I could realize I really enjoy research. I really love mentoring, students. Actually, during my PhD, I taught a course at Waterloo, an undergrad course. I also actually mentored a group of students for capstone project. So all those experience actually inspired me to be in academia. And, I never actually applied for any industry job here in Canada. I never prepared any 2 pages resume for industry. So I think for me, I was always focused that I want to be in academia, and I feel so fortunate that finally I could actually, I could find a place here in academia for myself.
That's awesome. But okay, you moved from one university, Western University, for master in anaerobic digestion, and to, I think, University of Waterloo, while you are doing a new area of research. You are exploring a new topic, which is the microbial electrochemical cells. Can you tell us a little bit, why did you decide to move from your area of research from, let's say, anaerobic digestion on the master degree to a new area for the PhD?
Actually, one of the thing, so during my master's, I was actually working on anaerobic digestion and a little bit also on fermentation side. And at Waterloo, my focus was mainly on microbial electrochemical technologies, so mainly focusing on kinetic and thermodynamic aspects of electroactive biofilms. So the main motivation behind moving to Waterloo was, I think the most important thing was I wanted to actually be out of my comfort zone and try to explore a new field. Because if I were in Western, maybe, I would continue in anaerobic digestion. Maybe I could have more publication, could finish my degree, within shorter period of time. But I thought, if you work on a topic during your PhD, that not necessarily mean that you are going to be doing this for rest of your life. So it's better to have exposure to different topics and different fields. So that was the main motivation. And I think it worked out pretty well. For example, anaerobic digestion, actually, technology readiness level is high. So that means some of the thing, we do more applied thing. Yep. Yes, we can still do fundamentals, but you do more applied thing. Maybe you can apply, some of the ideas in the field in shorter period of time. But microbial electrochemical technologies, that field was quite emerging at that time. And that was actually another motivation that, I want to explore a different field, try to learn some new fundamentals. And actually, when I started my faculty position, at that time, I could realize that actually there are a lot of, complementary things, and we could actually connect both topics and, and do some, new research.
You moved from Western to Waterloo. So now you did your master at university, and then you moved to another university. So two universities. Some students sometimes came to that question. I'm doing my master here. I know the system in this university. I'm a little bit comfortable. So it's easier for me to do the PhD at the same university rather than moving to the other one. How do you see the value of either staying in the same university to do your master and PhD, or to move from one university to another with new supervisor, new environment, new challenge, versus staying in the comfort zone and maybe finish earlier, finish faster? Which option, if a student came to you and asked your advice?
Well, I think there is no straightforward answer to this, honestly speaking, because a lot of factors can influence that decision, because your personal life, whether you wanna actually finish your degree and get into, industry or find a job very quickly, then possibly, staying in the same institution could be a good decision. And sometimes, let's say your, partner, their job, whether they already have a job in the same city or not, right? So a lot of factors can actually influence that decision. There is no right or wrong. End of the day, we have to make sure that we are happy with our decision. And, people around us are happy.
Yeah.
So.
So, okay, but let's say, okay, if we take all of those other factors away, and we say, okay, from experience perspective or academic perspective.
I would definitely, suggest that, going to a different university and explore a different field could be a right decision.
Yeah, but be ready to face that. You're gonna have some new challenges.
There are gonna be some new challenges for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and graduate studies always have challenges and have some good memories, some hard time, and I think we had a lot.
Exactly.
So if we have time, we could sit and write a book about that challenge time. Do you remember some of those, let's start with the challenging time and how did you overcome them, and then some good memories as well?
I don't have any specific memories about challenging time because, you face the challenges, you overcome, and then you forget about it, right? And I think my transition from to actually environmental engineering was a little bit challenging initially, but later on I started to enjoy. But I have some great memories from during my grad studies. So in my personal life, actually, I remember when my daughter was born in 2014. So just a few weeks before that, actually, I finished my candidacy exam, and after a couple of weeks later, my daughter was born. So that was a great memory. You cannot compare this experience with anything else. Another great memory is when I got an offer from University of Alberta.
Wow.
Actually, that was my only interview, first interview after I came to Canada, and first job offer. It was actually Saturday afternoon. I was in my office preparing for my PhD defense. Actually, following week was my PhD defense, and suddenly, actually, I noticed that the email came, and I got an offer from University of Alberta. So that was pretty exciting. I called my wife, and then I think second person I called is you. So that was an exciting memory. And a fun fact is, I applied for PhD admission in University of Alberta in 2011, and my application was not successful. So that's kind of like that's kind of my realization is. Your life can turn anytime, and you always should be prepared. Despite you face some failure and you are unhappy in the short term, that should not actually stop you from improving yourself and focus on becoming a best version of yourself.
Yeah, but also can give sometimes that gives another message. Not being selected does not mean that you are not good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not matching. Yeah.
Maybe you are not the right fit at the time, or maybe that's not the right moment for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So always believe in yourself, and you have to keep working. Improving yourself and that one. So I think that was I would say, I agree. It was just a very special moment to get that offer before having your.
And that's actually good learning. So when I started my grad studies, when I look back and I see that I made a lot of mistakes, but the good thing is I could learn from my mistakes. So, these days, if I get a proposal rejection or something, a paper rejection, I don't actually get frustrated right away.
Yep.
Okay. And I just go back and try to see, what part I can improve. I remember when my first paper was rejected, I was really upset, and I thought that's the end of the world, right? And I'm pretty sure that some of my students, they feel in the same way, right? So, but I think it's a continuous learning process. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if, as you said, if your first paper gets rejected, that means as the thinking is quite hard at the time.
I still remember when my first paper was rejected. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so same thing. I remember it. And first paper got rejected, and then I was like very frustrated. And
Yeah, you feel that's actually, kind of end of your life.
yeah, and then when I went to my supervisor and I said, "That's calm, that's okay." What? It's norm. I said, "Okay," but nowadays I get to know, okay, it's really norm. We have a lot of people influence our life during our journey. If we focus on the education side, either during our undergraduate study, during our graduate study, there is always some, let's say, a teacher that stays on our mind, the way that they are teaching, that influence your teaching. Do you remember any of those people who influenced you during your journey?
Actually, I was fortunate that I could meet a lot of great teachers and mentors in my high school, in my grad studies. Definitely, my master's and PhD supervisors, they have actually a lot of impact in my life.
Let's leave the supervisor aside
Okay,
now.
okay, yeah.
Talk about the other,
Yeah,
maybe, because we're gonna talk about. We shared memories with that.
Yeah. So, I at this point, I don't want to mention any specific name, but
Okay.
I had a lot of great teachers and mentors, and that's why I'm here today. Yeah. So-
You don't remember, for example, a professor or an instructor teacher was doing something, oh, you like that thing, and then you're implementing it now while you are teaching.
So I would say in my high school, so basically grade 11 and 12. So at that time, I remember my physics and math teacher.
Yeah.
They had a big impact, honestly speaking. They always inspired me. To work hard, and so that was kind of because in my junior high I was not I did not focus on my study that much, so my high school was kind of my turning point.
Okay.
So at the time they had a lot of impact, and inspired me to work hard.
Okay.
And that actually has a big influence in my following years. Yeah.
Now going to your supervisors. So how was if you tell us a little bit about your supervisor and how was your relation with your supervisor during your master, and then we're going to move to during your PhD.
Yeah. I worked with Dr. Nakhla and Dr. Ray at Western University. And actually, I think they both, can I say it on camera? Okay. Yeah, they have a completely different personality, I think, Dr. Nakhla, he's very thorough, analytical, and he always actually kind of try to push you and go outside your comfort zone and, be more comprehensive and thorough. And I think that part, I remember first time when I met him, he asked me, he gave me the Metcalfe and Eddy book and asked me to read those chapters and come back.
7 and
so
10.
Yeah. And so that actually helped me a lot. Eventually, yes, maybe, initially I did not like it that much, but now I appreciate, right? And Dr. Ray, she was, she had a different personality. You could go and share anything with her.
Yes.
So she was like you are far from your family in a different country. So at that time, she provided me a lot of actually mental support, not just as a supervisor, as a as a local guardian. Yeah. So
I totally agree with you with the two perspective for Dr. Nakhla and Dr. Ray, because I got to interact with them. And for Dr. Ray, I would say we always say she's our sister, our big sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whenever we have something, we can go and talk to her openly. Yeah, and the thoroughness of Dr. Nakhla is something really impacted all of this.
It's a lifelong impact, I would say.
Like, you can see how, it gives you an example of how a dedicated person to the work that he's doing and how he's really keen about the work, the quality of the work, and makes you motivated to do a similar thing. And
Yeah, and I remember Dr. Nakhla, sometimes he used to actually stay in office from 8 a.m. in the morning until 12. And
I would say 9,
9
12
or
sometimes, but
yeah, 12
7
sometimes.
a.m.
Actually, I saw, and at the time, I was not married, so I also used to stay from during my masters from 8 a.m. in the morning or 10 a.m. in
Okay.
the morning until last bus I can find. So yeah, to go home. So. Yeah, so they were really dedicated, and honestly speaking, that also inspired me. When you see that your supervisor is working very hard,
Yes.
so that means he cares about the thing that you are doing.
Yeah.
So someone come and identify your mistakes, or how you can actually improve yourself. That means actually they care about the quality of work and care about you.
Yeah, that's true. If you have that chance to say something to Dr. Nakhla and to Dr. Ray, what would we say?
I would say, thanks for everything. And, at least if I could learn some good things, that's yeah, thanks for everything.
I also echo what you are saying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nakhla, and thank you so much, Dr. Ray, for everything that you did for all your graduate studies, including Bipro and myself. So now, moving from your master degree at Western University to doing your PhD at University of Waterloo, so at a new city, a new university, new challenges, and new supervisors. So if you tell us a little bit about your new supervisors during your PhD.
So I did my PhD with Dr. Hyang Lee. At the time he was at Waterloo, but then recently he moved to Korea. I think when I started my PhD, he also actually pushed my limit and go outside my comfort zone, and it was already outside my comfort zone because it was a different topic, right?
Yes.
So, but I think when I started my PhD, I was better prepared to take the challenges, or I was better prepared to face new challenges, because after my master's, actually, both Dr. Nakhla and Dr. Ray, they gave me some opportunities to continue my research there at Western for almost a year. Yeah. So I was never actually disconnected. I was actually continuing my research and then moved for PhD, after 1 year and a half. So at the time, I was better prepared. Yep. I learned a lot of new things, a lot of great things from my PhD supervisor as well. And that also has actually a lot of impact in my, I always try to learn good things. And that's actually also has an impact in my current academic career. Yeah.
So how was, if, in your opinion, the supervision model of Dr. Hyung Sol Lee versus Dr. Nakhla and Dr. Ray?
I think, everyone has their different personality, right? And there is no right or wrong. None of us, we are perfect. We have some good things, we have some things, maybe that's not right. So the most important thing is we take the good things, okay, and we try to actually apply that in our life and try to be better or best version of ourselves. So, everyone's personality is different. Yeah. So I don't want to judge anyone for that.
So now that will take me to a tricky question. And you have the right to answer it, or you say, okay, I escape it. If you select one good thing that you picked from each of supervisor and you kept it with you.
From Dr. Nakhla, I would say be thorough and be analytical and do your mass balance.
That's bad. I still remember it.
Yeah. Dr. Ray, care about your students, and care about relationship, care about friendship. That's actually very important. Okay. because sometimes, when we have students, they're far from their families, so you have to be their actually moral support and mental support end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And they're just coming here and far from their family, and so we should actually provide our moral support to them, and we should care about them. They're, end of the day, they're working hard in the lab, especially in environmental engineering, a lot of actually lab research involved. So they're working hard. So, so we should be actually grateful to them. From Dr. Hyang-Sul Lee, I think the best thing I learned is try to learn fundamentals. Fundamentals, it's a very important thing. You should never, ever overlook the importance of learning new fundamentals. Yeah.
I cannot leave that is, we went to Waterloo and environmental engineering, and we didn't interact with Wayne Parker, Dr. Parker. I think you got a chance to interact with Dr. Wayne Parker.
Yeah, actually, I had some interaction with Dr. Parker as well. I took a grad course with him. He was honestly speaking, he was also my co-supervisor for a couple of years in my first, I think, 2 years. So until my candidacy exam, he was my co-supervisor. But after that, my topic was kind of more relevant to Dr. Hyang-Sul Lee's research topic. So at this point, he decided to supervise me, but I had a lot of interaction with Dr. Parker as well. And even I remember when I got an interview from University of Alberta, I went to him and he gave me a lot of great advice for, how to prepare myself for the interview. Yeah.
Okay, if we choose one thing that you learned from your interaction with Dr. Parker, what would be the one thing that you keep it?
I think one important thing is I learned is I would say, they have completely different version, but I could see a lot of similarities between Dr. Parker and Dr. Nakhla.
Okay.
So they both, they focus on, you have to be very analytical and thorough, okay? And so that's the thing that I learned from him, yeah.
Okay, so I'll take you back to that Saturday when you got that email with that offer from University of Alberta, and now you are just finishing your PhD, and now out of sudden you're gonna move to you're gonna be on the other side instead of sitting on the student side. You're gonna sit on the faculty side. I think this is, I would say, a kind of I would say a big jump. It's like there is no transition period between them. So what was the challenge that you faced moving for that transition from a graduate student to a faculty member?
Yeah, you are right. Actually, that was a big shift in responsibilities, right? From a grad student, suddenly you have to teach, you have to recruit students, you have to mentor students, you have to write proposal, you have to get grants. So tons of things, right? So initially it was quite challenging. Sometimes I remember with my first master's student, I worked in the lab for hours, so it was quite challenging, but whenever needed, I reached out to mentors, friends, I think many times I called you, and ask you, okay, Saeed, I'm having this, and what I should do, right? So it's better to actually reach out to mentors. So I did that. And we should not be shy about, because it's a continuous learning process. If I don't know anything, I don't know, right? I have to learn. So I think it was a continuous learning process. Eventually, I could better manage my stress and learn how to be multitasking. Initially, it was challenging, but I was fortunate that I could get some great students, actually, and made my life easier.
Yes.
So. And supportive families, supportive departments. So all those things actually helped me a lot. Yeah.
Do you remember the day that you received the decision for your first NSERC DG grant, Discovery Grant?
Yeah. Actually, I still remember that. I think it was sometime in March 2017. And I remember before I get the decision for a couple of weeks, I was like really stressed that, okay, you know what,
Yeah.
like everyone was telling that, oh, you have to get your DA. That is the first thing. If you don't get your Discovery Grant, you cannot apply for anything else. So it was quite stressful, but, I think, I still remember that day. Yeah.
Okay, because writing grants and getting it, but the first DG decision,
first
that's
DG.
something very special to us. Yeah, so now you are a professor at University of Alberta, and as a professor, we don't have the choice to be a multitask. So you have to be a multitask
Exactly,
regardless. So you are wearing different hats, a hat of instructor while you are teaching for both undergrad and grad. You are wearing a hat of researchers, you are doing research and writing grants, and also you have to do some service and serve in the committee and serve both the department, university, and the community outside. Among those three hats, which one is your favorite hat?
Well, research is going to be the first thing for sure. I really love the academic freedom that we have as a professor. Like whatever topic you like, you can jump into experiment,
Yes.
You can explore and see whether it's working or not. So research is going to be my first favorite thing for sure. I also love teaching because we cannot overlook the importance of teaching.
Yes.
And like when you go to the class every year, you see new faces, they're ready for learning new things. So that's a very refreshing and very rewarding experience. Administrative workload, I think this is something like, a lot of, definitely I don't like to do a lot of paperwork. Sometimes we need to do. But I love actually go outside and working with communities, professional communities, organizing conference. Sometimes actually from last year I also started doing outreach to elementary school, so that's also
awesome.
An exciting thing that I'm doing right now. So service is good, but sometimes it's quite challenging to balance three things.
I totally agree with you, but I remember that when we were teaching one course together, I saw that you have a passion about teaching as well. So I would say that is yes, having that freedom and research, but teaching has some good part in your heart. I remember that. Yeah.
And sometimes it's really rewarding. Sometimes, I receive emails from, students from undergraduate class, after they finish their undergrad, they find a job and they kind of realize, okay, something they learned from my class, it's actually useful. So, and then they reach out to me. So that's actually a very rewarding experience.
I totally agree with you, especially if the students remember you and one day you meet some students somewhere and just tell you that you influenced their life. But this is it's a crazy thing that is our students, either the graduate students or the undergraduate students or the student that doing their research with us, they feel that we are a professor now, so we are relaxed, we have a relaxed life, enjoyable life. You did it. So they don't know actually that we have some challenges. So what are the many challenges for you as a professor?
I think sometimes, people feel that we have a very relaxing life because we have flexibility, right? And academic flexibility, that's actually something that, maybe when you are in industry, you don't enjoy that, right? So, but we should also keep that in mind that if you have too much flexibility. That means it's not a 9 to 5 job, right? So it's something 24/7. You always have to think about it, right?
Yes.
So yes, we have flexibility. At the same time, we have to think about a lot of things, okay? But I think in academia, it's kind of like a lifestyle. It's a completely different lifestyle, right? So,
Yep.
But one of the major challenging thing in academia is work-life balance, right? So that's also a challenging thing in our life, yeah.
So how do you make that work-life balance between your professional or and your family?
Maybe I'm
commitments?
not the right person to answer this question. I'm not very good in balancing things.
Okay.
But I make my priorities, okay? And my family, my wife and daughter, they're very understandable, okay? So
Okay,
sometimes
yeah.
when I have, deadlines, I just tell them, okay, you know what, I have to finish this first, and they understand that. So, and I'm very grateful for that. So, but I think work-life balance is something that I'm still learning. Yeah.
Okay. I think, I agree with you. If you have a spouse that will understand your career and supportive, I think that's something really important in our life. So if you got that chance and you want to say something to your wife, what do you want to say?
I would say, yeah, thanks for being with me. Thank you. And
Tolerating.
thank you for tolerating me. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I echo thank you for every wife that is supporting
their
husbands and taking care of the family, because they are the one that is really paying attention to the family compared to others. But I believe also you have a lot of support from your parents towards your career.
Honestly speaking, I have very supportive parents. Okay. Whatever I decided, actually, you can see, I had a big transition from, during my undergrad. So I could, and they supported everything, whatever I decided. In our back home, we have a culture that we always actually try to insist our kids, okay?
Oh.
Either you go and become engineer or doctor, right? So my father, he never actually tried to influence my decision, okay? So he was very supportive all the time. And he's actually very supportive to me still.
Until now.
Yeah, still he is very supportive. He's close to, I think, 75 years old right now, and still active. I think he's more active than me in my personal life. Yeah. So I have great parents. Yeah.
Was it a hard decision that to move from Bangladesh to Canada? What was your mom's reaction when you decided, okay, I'm gonna travel and?
Well, I'm the only son, and son and mother always have, I think. Daughter and father, they have different, bonding, and mother and son, they have different bonding, right? So, yes, it was quite challenging, okay, for her, for myself, when you are far from your family. I missed the food, my mother cooks. But initially it was quite challenging. It was an emotional roller coaster. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but did you had to convince her this is better for her career? She understood from.
She understood because when I did my undergrad, I was in a different city. In 2002, I actually left my home city. Okay. And after that, I was mostly, outside. Yes, but still it was a different country, right? So it was quite far. And first time, I think, after I came to Canada, after almost 2 years later, I first, visited Bangladesh. So it was quite challenging, but they kind of understood that, okay, I'm leaving for something good, okay. So yeah, they were pretty understandable and supportive, yeah.
I would imagine that your mom may say, Bipro, what are you doing in engineering? Go and be a singer, be a famous man. I know that you have a lot of hobbies and a lot of things. Forget about research now.
Yeah, actually, when I was in Waterloo for my PhD, we had a big community.
Yes.
We had a big group. We used to do music, a lot of different events. At least 4 or 5 events every year, and a lot of rehearsals. So I really enjoyed, and that actually was. When I was in lab or university, I worked hard, and that was my breathing place. Okay, I could go and do some music with my friends. Okay, so that was I think also helped me to. Relax, okay, forget about research and the challenges that I have for some time, right? Yeah, so.
Didn't you think any time to switch the career to a singer?
Not exactly, okay.
But it happened.
No, it did not happen because, I did not learn, I don't have any, I would say, formal training in music.
Okay.
So, and a lot of people, they dedicated their time, spend a huge amount of time to, kind of get formal training in music,
Okay.
right? So,
Yes.
I think that would be a little bit, I would say, overestimating myself to go and become a singer. But music is something I really enjoy. Okay?
Yeah.
This is something that, I enjoy, but I don't wanna, I don't think I could be a professional singer.
Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to sing now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We can ask you to send us some of those clips that you recorded.
Oh.
So we can share it with, if you do have, we can share it with the audience. I think that's
Yeah,
something
for sure, yeah.
would be beautiful. Okay, so now, given that you said that you don't think that you can be a professional singer, which I would say it's better for the academic researcher that we have you didn't leave us. But hypothetically, if you would choose a different career, if you are not an environmental specialist, what career would you choose?
I think I would be, if I'm not a professor, possibly I would be in consulting. So maybe in consulting industry, focusing more on design and solving problem for industries as a
Okay.
consultant, yeah.
No, let's make it hard. Nothing related to environmental engineering.
Okay.
So another career, another topic other than a title other than environmental engineer.
I never thought about it, honestly
Okay,
speaking.
so- Are you a handyman? You do things with your hand, or you like to use your brain more?
I like to use my brain more, but
Okay.
I also actually, after my undergrad, at some point, I'm gonna go and do an MBA and be
Okay.
in, kind
Yeah,
of some leadership position in corporate companies. So, yeah.
No, okay. But you're not going to be an actor, for example.
No.
Okay. Oh my God. I wish to be an actor so I can come and visit you there and meet Shah Rukh Khan and those Salman Khan to be a friend of them.
Oh.
I love Bollywood movies and, those things. Going back a little bit, let's dig a little bit in your research area. If you tell us and give us an overview, what are your main research areas?
So yes, so my main research area is focusing on bioenergy and resource recovery from waste and wastewater, biosensing for monitoring environmental pollutants and bioremediation. Some of the topics that we are working these days are obviously anaerobic digestion, fermentation, microbial electrochemical technologies. We are also working on a lot of different physicochemical processes as well. But one of the exciting things that we are doing right now is how to actually convert some of the greenhouse gases to some value-added products. That's kind of like the one of the interesting topic that we are working on right now.
Between the anaerobic digestion and microbial electrochemical cells, because those are, I think, the major two topics that you kept during your master PhD, and now you are continuing your research was more advancing those. Which one of those two is more interesting or appealing to you? A little bit tricky.
That's really a tricky question. It's kind of like you have two kids, and now you have to decide on one. I think, I love both topics. For anaerobic digestion, we do a lot of things with industries, and we are fortunate that some of the topics that we worked on, we are actually could move them from or transition them from lab to pilot or from bench to pilot scale. That we are exploring right now. So that's kind of exciting thing to see that, you can scale up or validate some of the ideas that you did in the bench. For microbial electrochemical technologies, that's, I think, that's a very exciting area. You can learn a lot of new fundamentals. So there are still a lot of new fundamentals there. And to scale up microbial electrochemical technologies, it's quite challenging still. Maybe some of the ideas like biosensing we can actually apply to the field in near future. But obviously, like when you want to build or design some large system for a treatment, that's still quite challenging. But still, it's, I think, a very exciting field for me. I remember, when I was grad student, when you first time you see some positive current, on the computer screen from some reactor, that's actually very rewarding or refreshing thing to see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether my students can feel the same or not, but both topics are really, I really enjoy both topics. Yeah.
But I feel that you enjoy more the MAC.
Well, I enjoy both, honestly speaking. And I think, one of the things, I worked on anaerobic digestion during my master's.
Yep.
And during my PhD, I worked mostly on microbial electrochemical technologies. But when I started my independent career, I could connect both of them. Yes. Actually, there are a lot of overlaps in not just in fundamentals, also in application. So for example, we are trying to see how we can integrate microbial electrochemical technologies to upgrade biogas that is coming out from digester and convert that into renewable natural gas or convert that into high value-added product. Right, so there are a lot of actually complementary things between two topics.
That's a quite interesting topic. That is converting either the methane or carbon dioxide, the biogas that produced from the anaerobic digestion into RNG or value-added product, whatever. Can you tell us elaborate a little bit on that topic? So how are you using that MEC to upgrade the biogas?
Yes, and that's actually a good question. So one of the nowadays, there is a lot of interest on, how we can actually upgrade the biogas to renewable natural gas and inject to the grid, because we know that we can, kind of combust biogas in combined heat and power generation unit and produce heat and electricity. But most of the actually facilities, they are forced to actually flare the biogas, right? Because sometimes upgrading is quite challenging. So we are developing microbial electrosynthesis cells to actually convert those. So biogas, we have carbon dioxide, methane, and a lot of other impurities like hydrogen sulfide. So we are actually using microbial electrosynthesis cell to actually using some electroactive microbes to actually convert that carbon dioxide to additional methane. So that means you get about end of the process, you can get about 95 to 99% methane. So it's kind of almost like natural gas that you can inject to the grid. And one of the interesting thing we recently actually found that we could possibly use that technique for both converting carbon dioxide to methane and also remove the sulfide from biogas. So that's kind of can give you dual benefit. So it can possibly act as a standalone system for both processes.
What are the challenges for that kind of line?
Yes, challenges is one of the major challenges is how to scale up this idea, right? How you push it from bench to pilot or in the field. And one of the major challenges mass transfer limitation. So because solubility of those gas is not very good, right? Very low. So we are trying to explore some innovative methods how we can enhance the mass transfer limitation and kind of make the process more faster.
Yeah.
So we are actually currently working on a couple of different ideas, and hopefully we'll have some exciting things very soon. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. So we always hear about that, and you mentioned to it, combining the anaerobic digestion with MAC to upgrade it, not just to upgrade the biogas, but to enhance the process itself.
Yeah.
How do you see that as combining the anaerobic digestion process with the MAC as feasible technology to be happen, and what are the challenges?
Yes, we can also actually directly apply the microbial electrochemical technology or directly integrate like in a in a modular system. So where actually anaerobic digestion and both microbial electrolysis cell can actually occur together. So that process can actually offer us to overcome some of the kinetic limitation in the process, okay? But at the same time, it's quite challenging because, we can, sometimes we feel that, okay, we can just insert some electrode in the bioreactor and apply some voltage and it's going to start working, right? So, but still, in existing facilities, to retrofit this kind of idea is quite challenging, right?
Yep.
Because it's quite challenging. So when something is promising, at the same time, it comes with a lot of challenges as well. And that's our job to actually kind of, overcome those challenges. I think we are on the right track. Yes, it's going to take some time to scale up this kind of idea, because I think if I show some bench scale results and ask industry, okay, that actually works perfectly well in my lab, and let us insert some electrode in the digester, I think they are not going to accept that.
Exactly.
We have to go for some pilot validation and all. We still have to do a lot of things to actually convince industries to actually adopt this kind of ideas and how to engineer the idea, right? So possibly system not going to look like same as what we have in the lab, right? So we still have to do a lot of things. But one of the thing I kind of experience that sometimes students feel that, okay, there is not a lot of application of microbial electrochemical technologies in the field. So maybe if I do my master's or PhD in this topic, maybe it's going to be quite challenging for me to find a job. Actually, that's, I think it's not correct, okay? If you are working on a topic for your master's or PhD, that not necessarily mean that, you're going to be doing that same thing for rest of your life. In grad school, I think most important thing, we get a training. That's a training, actually. We learn how to actually think outside the box. We learn how to critically analyze something, right? And that give you a different perspective to see things differently, right? So
I have a couple of things here. So I have one comment. and then I have a question. So the comment is, I agree with you partially on that statement that whatever you do in your graduate study might be in your career after that. That's from my perspective, it's correct if you are doing master. But for PhD, I believe that you have to be a little bit careful with the topic because that topic will stay with you because this is where you really invest a lot of your life, at least 4 or 5 years on that topic. You don't want to spend 4 or 5 years in a topic and then you go outside and you work on another topic. I believe that PhD topic is something like it will stay.
It will stay, that's correct, but it really depends, honestly speaking. I have seen a lot of my industry partners, they kind of switch from a different role, from different topic, even different position. Even I can tell some of our adjunct professor in our department, they have a completely different expertise in some of them, and sometimes especially in environmental engineering, it's quite multidisciplinary. So obviously, if you are within environmental engineering, possibly you can still apply some of the fundamentals that you learn or some of the expertise that you learn, but if you completely switch the area, then it could be challenging, right?
Yeah, I believe a little bit. For example, there are some areas that somehow they are connected. Like if you talk about wastewater, so wastewater or sludge management or greenhouse gas or all of those are connected, so it's okay. I would say they're on the same topic, but you're not gonna do your PhD, for example, in wastewater and you switch to drinking water or water resources. It's gonna be very challenging.
Exactly.
Setting up. So that was the comment. The question now is said, okay, you want to convince the industry, so that means you are dealing with the industry. So I know that you are collaborating with the industry. So the first question, how is the industrial collaboration influence your research?
Certainly I have a big impact, of industry partners on my research program, because, without their support, we can't do research. Actually, in Canadian research landscape, you have to have, especially in engineering, you have to have industry partner. I think one of the most challenging part is how to find a sweet spot actually where you can work together with industry. Sometimes our motivation is quite different, right? So in industry, they want to develop something ultimately, possibly, that can actually improve their process or improve their, process performance or efficiency, or try to actually, if they can solve a problem, an existing problem, right? So, and sometimes we are in academia, we cannot overlook the importance of training students. That's actually a very important part of our job, right? So I think, try to find a sweet spot where actually we can make some win-win situation for both parties. That's the important thing. And definitely I'm very grateful to all my industry partners. They did not just provide funding support. Actually, most of my partners, they are actually very involved in our research, even in experimental design. Some of them actually even became adjunct professor in our department and contributed to mentoring students, co-supervising students. So it's kind of like, not just, a relationship, we just provide deliverable and it's done. Not like that. It's beyond that.
Can you maybe share with us one of those successful collaboration with the industry, maybe a kind of project from where it starts and where it ends now?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I still remember my first grant. Actually, it was not the Discovery grant. My first grant was an industry grant from Imperial Oil, and it was from Wellsend, because that, Alberta, we are oil province in Canada, right? So I did not have any experience with, working with oil and gas sector, like any topic related to oil and gas sector. But when I first moved to Alberta, I started thinking like, how I can apply my expertise in oil and gas industry, how I can actually help them solving their environmental problem. And at the time, I noticed that some of our senior colleagues are already working on developing, kind of like advanced system for treatment side.
Okay.
So then I thought, okay, they are having some issues with monitoring some of the contaminants they have in the process water they have. So at the time, I came up with an idea, like how we can actually apply microbial electrochemical cell and develop a biosensor for monitoring some of those contaminants that they're dealing with. And like Imperial Oil, they really loved the idea, and they decided to actually support the project. It started in 2017. We are actually still working with them on this topic, and we first it was a bit challenging to actually demonstrate the proof of concept. But later on, we moved to starting from model compounds, we moved to commercial naphthenic acid or commercial naphthenic acids and commercial model compounds. And then we recently also demonstrated that concept can work for like real oil and process water, and that idea can work. Now I think the next phase would be demonstrate that idea in the field. So that's kind of like an exciting story because I did not have any idea what kind of problem they're facing. Because like when you are a grad student, you focus on your topic more, and but that was I think that's an exciting story, that how to build a relationship with an industry partner and continue working and gradually developing things. And they were actually very supportive, and I would say I met a lot of smart and amazing researchers from Imperial Oil, and they provided a lot of input to improve our research and also change the way that we were thinking, the problem, how we are addressing the problem. They gave a lot of, fresh and different perspective in our research.
So going same point that, I think now you have a great idea, which is you mentioned that you find the sweet spot was collaborating with the industry, and you have now the proof of concept. You moved it from the lab to some commercial products. Is it ready to be scaled up?
Not yet.
Okay.
We are actually working towards that goal right now. So proof of concept took 5 to 6 years, and that between that time we also had COVID. So so that also actually impacted our research, because some of those biofilm systems are quite sensitive. So when you lose the biofilm, you have to actually start from scratch again, right? So, but we have some ideas how to actually push this towards field. We are working towards that, and hopefully we will see something in the near future. So that's the hope. But sometimes, as we are in academia, we kind of we are not that motivated to develop a final product.
Yes.
But I think for some of the topics, I want to see that some for research are actually applied to the field, right? So
that's a successful project about the microbial electrolysis cell as a biosensor detector. It's like it required an environmental engineer, chemical engineer, maybe electrical engineer, microbiologist, to different discipline, different background. So I would say it's a multidisciplinary project. So given that you already have that experience with multidisciplinary collaboration, how is the multidisciplinary collaboration in general can benefit the future of wastewater management?
Yeah, I think in most of the field these days in engineering, especially environmental engineering, definitely we need multidisciplinary research. we must actually collaborate with other discipline to make sure that something we can develop something really innovative. For water and wastewater side, if you see, we are dealing with a lot of environmental issues that we cannot actually tackle them, alone, right? So, for example, some of the emerging contaminants, we need collaboration with, analytical chemist, because, I'm trained as a chemical engineer, and then later on, I gained expertise in environmental engineering, but I'm not an analytical chemist. So if I go back and spend a huge amount of time to figure out how to detect those compounds, yes. Okay, that's going to be, I think challenging for me, right? It's yes. going to be a lot of time. But if I can collaborate with an analytical chemist or a researcher who has actually expertise in this, we can actually reduce the time lag in this innovation. So I can focus on my strength, and my collaborator can focus on his or her strength, right? So, and that's how actually we can push some of the thing within a short period of time. Yeah. So I think multidisciplinary research is very important in this area. And as you said, sometimes we also collaborate with material scientists. Yeah. Let's say we want to overcome some challenges with electrode material. So now, instead of me trying to synthesize something, I can go back to my colleague and explain the problem. Maybe he has a better idea how to resolve this within a short period of time, right?
So you mentioned that is one of the potential application for the MAC to be used as a biosensors. So can you elaborate a little bit about the application of that MAC and what are the material that can be sensed by MAC?
Okay, yeah. So MAC, sometimes we also call it MFC, right? Microbial fuel cells. So there are some differences, but end of the day, the fundamental concept is same. Yes, we can actually apply this concept for different types of contaminants, either organic or inorganic. The process is a little bit different. We have to tweak few things, depending on the target contaminants. So that can. I know that actually sometimes, in either you are in oil and gas sector or municipal wastewater, we have to make sure that the treatment process that we are using, it's working perfectly or meeting the regulatory guidelines, right? So sometimes what happens when you take samples and you send it to the lab to get the result, that can actually take time. Right? And sometimes it might be, let's say if something happened to your process and it might be quite late. And sometimes it's very expensive to rectify this kind of, challenges, right? So I think microbial fuel cell or microbial electrochemical biosensor can give you an early warning. So it can actually work perfectly as an early warning system, okay? And, kind of let you act immediately if there is some issues in the field. So, yeah, so there is a lot of potential. And it still, I would acknowledge that it also has a lot of challenges, whether, the signal that you see, whether it's a, false signal or, because those, when you work with microbes, they are quite sensitive, right? So.
You have a great team of researchers, some of them master students, some PhD, and some postdoc. And for master PhD, during their last period of time that before the finishing, they are looking for jobs. And they come to you and ask you, Dr. Dhar, what to do to prepare ourselves for a job and how to look for a job. What advice would you give them in order to look for a job?
Well, first of all, I think either you want to go to academia or industry. Not necessarily if you want to go to industry, then that means that, okay, you do less or you do more, right?
Yes.
So I think both, especially in our area, like both the industry and academia, we need similar kind of expertise, right? I think for industry job, you have to, so first of the thing, I would suggest my students in the beginning of their program that, okay, you know what, you decide now, either you want to be in industry or academia.
Okay.
Then you can better prepare yourself, right? So for academia, maybe, you do the same thing that you need for industry, because end of the day, you have to work with industry, right?
Yes.
So you have to know, what they're looking for. But at the same time, maybe for academia, you have to focus on some good quality publication, key publication that can reflect your research contribution. For industry, sometimes it's good to go out and learn how to do networking, how to actually learn how to, talk in their language, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes language is quite different, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of very important. And there are a lot of resources actually in every universities. There are a lot of resources available, right? It's better to explore those resources and prepare themselves for industry. And I think there is no right or wrong between selecting between industry or academia. End of the day, it's your life. You want to make sure that you want to be happy, you want to enjoy your life, right? So, yeah.
I would say yes. Fundamentally, working in the research area, preparing yourself for academia or industry, both are like having the same basic with little bit differences, as you mentioned, and being identified from the beginning. It's better, but this is not the common case. And
That's not the common case, yes.
because sometimes they come and they don't know. So I don't know. Okay, coming to the last question, a new graduate students came, you accepted the students, and they came to meet you for the first time. So the first meeting with them. So what would you advise them? If this is your camera and just want to give an advice to a new graduate students, what would you tell them?
Yeah, so my advice would be focused, work hard. Whenever needed, reach out to your mentors and supervisors for help. And, if you make mistakes, try to see how you can make it right. And if you are in environmental engineering, don't forget your mass balance.
I like that. Well said. Thank you so much, Bipro. I really enjoyed talking with you today. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. And that was the end of our podcast today. And looking forward to see you on another episode. Bye-bye.